YouTubers. When I lean forward, guys, it's because I've got microphones on me Zoom device, me sound card thing, and that's where picking up the sound. I've just done what should we say, a trial. I've just done a trial, and my computer's playing up, guys. It's bugged. It's one of the reasons I'm not putting many speeches out. I need to refresh the computer completely. I need to start from scratch. Someone's spying on me, some kind of activity. I don't know. I don't care. Sad, silly psyops, silly billies out there. Silly billies. But I thought to myself, I think it's time to do a little speech by popular demand. Because there was about 3 people out there who wanted more speeches. And I agree. But the problem is, folks, the more honest I am online, the more trouble I'm going to get with my computer. I'm sure you all understand that. I have no protection. My full identity is known on YouTube. I don't hide. You know, some people, they go on YouTube and you never see the faces. You just see narration or the video and that. Well, you know, they could be psyops or military personnel or whatever it is they do. Like, I've just been testing my magic pen to draw pictures and things, which is okay. But anyway, in case I have to do any illustrations, well, I don't think I'm going to have to do any. Now, I've just done a little run through on my computer, with my sound card. I'm just, and I don't know what, it started crackling the sound, so I've got to get this over quick in case I do an entire speech and it sounds all wrong. But I can do it. I can always do it. Every speech I've ever done on YouTube, guys, even on my old channel, I can always redo if anyone's got any requests, right? If anyone's got any requests. Certain speeches I did in the past that were quite mind-blowing. I erased all of them because my hard drive at the time was only 80 gigabytes and I had to, videos are a lot of data, so I got rid of all of them. And I didn't expect to be closing my old channel down, you see. But once I closed that down, all that data was gone. But by popular demand, anyone wants me to talk about a particular subject, I'm just making sure this is loud enough. All right. I need to I need a more powerful computer, basically, if I'm going to continue on YouTube. I noticed a few people got back to me and said, please don't leave YouTube. It's the internet in general, guys. I'm not really into it. Like, I don't use it to sell anything. I've got no business interest on the internet. I've got no selling points. I don't do anything through the internet regarding business apart from eBay. Right? I sell things on eBay, and that's about it. And I've noticed strange things going on in me emails, to do with PayPal accounts and stuff like that. Remember, guys, papacy, papal, it sounds like papal, doesn't it? For all we know, the Vatican could be running PayPal, because they take a cut when you sell something on eBay. You sell it, you know what I mean? Someone pays you, and it's just like a little chunk of money goes straight to PayPal, and then you've got to pay eBay whatever your monthly fee is, say your listing fees or whatever. But PayPal are making money off everyone for nothing, aren't they? and there's all kinds of shady stuff going on. Okay, back to the point of this speech. The speech is about Catholicism, and there's obvious links between Catholicism, right, and reptiles, snakes, dragons, whatever you want to call them. It's obvious, isn't it, that there's a connection. Now, anyone who's watching this video, if you're a Catholic person, don't take it personal, right? Because there's obviously loads of people out there that are Catholic people, and they're like, they're picking on us. We're not picking on anyone. We're picking on the Pope, the priests, whatever it is, right? The 3-6 is in the Bible. Right? People still doing it. People associate and say coincidental. Say I went on YouTube, right? And the views were 666. Someone in the comments section is bound to go, look at that, it says 666. Or, stop doing that, guys. But go and check out a picture of Emperor Nero. The busts, what they call busts of Roman emperors, and you'll find out that Emperor Nero is the guy that they're all talking about when they put the 3 6s in the Bible. It's a coded message. It's so, say when Adolf Hitler was taking over Nazi Germany, if I was a person that lived in Germany and I was like in the underground, the resistance or whatever, like the French resistance, or, they must have had Germans that hated them, obviously. They'd use a code word to describe his name or describe the person, so that if you were searched, then he went through all your writings and your books. How come you wrote "We don't like Adolf Hitler" in this book? Or in the day, you'd say Emperor Nero. How come you wrote "You don't like Nero" in this book? Or you a Christian or whatever? It's getting bad, isn't it? The beast is rising, right? Which tells me the Vatican. They say the beast. Well, God himself describes it as the dragon and the beast. There's a dragon and a beast, right? There's a beast and a dragon of description in the Bible. I've done speeches earlier on about the beast and my encounters with it when I had some bad trips or whatever, and I actually seen it for myself. There's obviously a real dragon, right? Of some kind, because people keep buying the ornaments of them and there's films like Dragonheart and Game of Thrones is making a bit. Have you noticed the Game of Thrones is making a big deal about dragons, isn't it? It's making people think that dragons are cool, right? And dragons, they're troublemakers. They're troublemakers. They make people argue. They make people fight. They make, they wreck families. The film Reign of Fire. It's kind of like that. They're really bad, mischievous creatures. If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. They don't like people. They don't like them. So somewhere in history, somewhere under the ground, under the Vatican, in the catacombs or wherever, there's some kind of connection between a beast and a dragon, right? Now, one of the strangest connections I've always thought is a lot of these people most of the people who I've met in life who have got a problem, they're having problems in life, they're not really happy, or they envy other people, or they're bitter about stuff. They smoke a lot. They smoke cigarettes. They smoke fags. They smoke ciggies. And there's always an ashtray in their living room full of stumps. Do you know what I'm saying? There's just that alone is a negative energy, because the cigarette stumps in an ashtray. And when people smoke a cigarette, what do? They drag, don't they? Right? And if they're hooked on them, they drag on, don't they? Drag on. And then if they're hooked, all they're going to do all day is drag on and on and on, aren't they? Dragging on the cigarettes, right? So there's a connection to smoking, right? Now, everyone knows they call a dragon a fire-breathing dragon. Now, I'm not hooked on. I do toke a bit of weed from time to time, right, guys? But I use pipes and bongs and that kind of stuff, right? If I ever do it, I never, smoking joints and spliffs, what they call spliffs, and rollies, or a one pop. Some people call it a one pop, which is like a rolly cigarette with it's loaded with cannabis as well. And the whole point of using a spliff or a joint, right, guys, is if you want to walk around the streets and you want to smoke your weed, right, but you don't want people to know that you're smoking weed, so you make it look like a cigarette. But anyone who sits in their own private houses or the bedrooms or the living rooms and they actually smoke a spliff or a joint or a rollie or whatever, they're robbing themselves. The drag on is still there, isn't it? You should use a pipe or a bong, or better still, eat it, put it in food or whatever. But there's this presence of the need to light a fire, isn't there? And every person I know's got a problem in life. They need to light that fire. I've done experiments where I've sat with potheads and people in a room, and I do this experiment where I say, look, you come to my house, you're chilling out in mine, right? You can smoke a bong, you can smoke a pipe, but please don't light a cigarette or make a spliff or a rollie or what we call a joint. I mean, what does joint mean? It means like a coercion, doesn't it? two people, joint partnership, you know. And I don't care what anyone says, tobacco and cannabis don't get on together. And everyone I know who smokes spliffs or joints most of their lives, they have a lung problem later on in life. Whereas a lot of the cannabis users who just smoke weed with no tobacco, they tend to be healthy until their old age, don't they, you know? So obviously there's a concoction going on, the joints between tobacco and weed. It makes people ill. There's no health benefits, you know what I mean? And there's no health benefits in smoking weed neither. You've got to eat it you've got to ingest it. All the healthy stuff is not in the THC, right? The THC. It's in the CBD, isn't it? It's speaking for itself. The CBD oil, which is now available in Holland and Barrett, and I can go to a shop in town now and buy cannabis oil in a bottle, CBD oil, which is where all the health benefits are coming from. If you have to be stoned to be happy, guys, then you're sad. You're a really sad person. You can't get on with life without being stoned. You're already lost the game, haven't you, really? But the drag on, and it usually only applies to people who smoke tobacco as well, you know what I mean? So you have to make them rollies and spliffs or whatever it is. Even if they're in their own houses and no one's going to tell them, but if they're in the street where there's police cars driving past and all that, right? Well, that's the idea behind and the other mad thing is I went to Amsterdam, didn't I, right? In Amsterdam, you're allowed to smoke weed, aren't you? You're actually allowed to smoke weed. Right. But there's people still walking around making spliffs and their joints. It's insane, man. It's absolutely mad. So the dragon, right, the fire-breathing dragon is present, isn't it? There's this need to light a fire. I've got to rush this because I don't know, because I tested the microphone before and I had if this sounds a bit crap, guys, if it's audible, at least you can understand it. If I post it, But anyway, and then right, we've got the beast and the dragon in the background, right? So now most of these people who've got problems, right, guys, seem to be Catholics as well. My dad was a Catholic, right, and he was an altar boy and everything in school. He hated it, right? He hated it. You know the way most guys grow up in a Catholic world. They go, I went through it, so should me kids. Well, my old man had us all christened Protestants because he hated Catholicism. And I'm not doing a pro-Protestant stance there, guys, going, I'm a Protestant. I don't mean it like that. I mean anything but Catholicism. Think about it. And right. Now, there seems to be this connection to the dragon in Catholicism. The Romans were all reptiles, weren't they? There's a reptile seed in the blood. There's something to do with the serpent's egg and the reptile and the dragon that's obviously connected to the Vatican. You've seen all the snake things, the conference hall that looks like a snake's head from inside. The Vatican itself looks like a snake from above when you look at it from an aerial viewpoint, right? So we've definitely we're not imagining, are we, that there's a connection to serpents, dragons of some kind, dragon blood, or I don't know what to say anymore. It's so obvious, isn't it? It's getting a bit ridiculous, but that we're still not really sure about it. I don't mean me. I mean in general, the masses, right? And then there's the other element of dragon, which is wearing women's clothes, or men wearing women's clothes, right? Or women who dress as men, right? Now that goes back to the cult of Dionysus. Dionysus, who was meant to be like Bacchus is the Roman equivalent. Well, Dionysus is I never use the word God to describe these knobheads. You know what I mean? Wouldn't even call Dionysus a patron or nothing. He's just a big-headed, full of himself, egotistical, religious nutcase. I don't know. But apparently Dionysus was behind the cross-dressing cult. I'd done my research a good few years back when I was first getting into the Bible and stuff, and I was studying everything, turning over every stone. Dionysus, he's like in small inverted commas, the god of intoxication and wine and orgies and, you know, having a good time. Now, we all know we can have a good time getting drunk and stuff like that without being silly bastards, don't we? We can all enjoy ourselves, eat, drink and be merry, you know what I mean? The strict rules in the Bible applies to ministers, folks. If there was a minister, a minister has got to stay as clean as possible because he's responsible for congregations, and that goes from all ages as well, from like 5 years old up to 105, you know what I mean? So you've got to be responsible, not be drunk and all that kind of stuff. That's common sense, right? But back to the Dionysian thing, right? Dionysus was apparently, he's the forefather of the drag queen, right? And then there's other things like Pan and all these elements that are kind of... But there's definitely a thing in the past that goes back, and I know the Egyptians, you know, the pharaohs used to fancy themselves, didn't they? They put eyeliner on, you know what I mean? It actually, you know, when you see men with eyeliner, I mean, I've never put any makeup on my own eyes, guys, you know what I mean? I think it's horrible, you know what I mean? I don't mind a bird tarring herself up and looking cute for me, you know what I mean? I don't give a, you know, I don't care about that kind of thing. I'm not going to get too heavy on it, like, oh, but we all know Jezebel painted her eyes, don't we, before she, hopefully I can go online and show you the little clip before I get off, or I could save it for another video. But anyway, back to the point of the drag queen thing, right? Now, there seems to be women, right? I call them femme fatales, right? Femme fatales. Women that are sent out by a pimp or like a religious leader or a guru. And they're used just to target us and take away our security, basically, and then do things to us, try and influence us to be stupid or sell our souls or make loads of money for them or something like that. Now, I've got another speech coming up about the femme fatales, right? So I'll deal with that later on. I'm going to talk about like my own relationship with a girl, and I thought, like, wow, this is just pure femme fatale. She's not loving me, she's trying to destroy me, you know what I mean? But it just so happens when I had a cousin. He's dead now. He died 50 something, and he was into drugs. He was addicted to amphetamine, you know, speed, the sex drug, you know, the drug where everyone wants to have orgasms or whatever, like. And he got put onto it in the 70s apparently. I didn't know until recent years that he was into it, you know what I mean? So I started looking into everything, like wondering what's going on here, and he had this Dionysic attitude to life, you know what I mean? He had that Dionysus vibe about himself. He was he thought orgasms were the greatest thing since sliced bread, you know what I mean? But anyway, while I was researching all of these matters, I was actually getting into my Bible and stuff, you know what I mean? Back in like about 2000 it was, right? We're talking 19 years ago now. And I actually met up with this cousin, and he came to mine. He was older than me, you know, he's a few years ahead of me, like 10 years my senior, right? So he'd been through things in the 70s, he'd gone to Glastonbury, partying, festivals, you name it, he'd done it all, right? But he was a pushover for cocaine and speed, you know, the powders, the principalities of powder. But anyway, I put him on the spot. I said to him, because I knew he had this history of being a bit like, everyone thought he was gay, everyone thought he was, you know, he was a puff, everyone thought puff, the magic dragon, but in the background, the thing with him, you know, the way my old man insisted on making us all not be Catholics. So there was 4 kids in our family and none of us were Christian Catholics, right? That was my dad's wish, you know what I mean? My mum was a Protestant, you see, so she wasn't going to have any of that nonsense anyway, right? But my old man's a relative who's, I won't name names, you see, I'm walking on eggshells, I don't want to name names so people get the wrong idea. But anyway, this cousin of mine, right, his mother insisted on him being a Catholic, you see, you know, the way it's usually the women who are completely fooled by it, you know what I mean? They still think that Catholicism's amazing, do you know what I mean? I don't know it's the Mary worship cult, isn't it, you see? And a dragon, like dragging a cigarette, and there's some connection to dressing men up in women's clothes and dressing women up in men's clothes. Hate it, man. Like Lady Gaga did it, didn't she? You know what I mean? You know when they do it like where they look like Marlon Brando, a woman's got like a mustache. They always draw a mustache on and they have their hair greased back like Marlon Brando or James Dean or something. Ah, it's horrible. I mean, I find it just as gross looking at women dressed as men as I do men dressed as women. I think it's vile, right? But we all know as kids and everything, there's always some kind of influence in our lives trying to make us like, you know, go on, put your mum's bra on or whatever it is. I'm sure every kid in life has had that invasion in the mind, but where does it come from? It can't come from within, can it? It can't come from within yourself if you grow up and you're a normal dude and you love women or whatever, or if you're a normal woman and you love men, you know what I mean? None of the gay stuff is included. I don't care what anyone says. The gay movement is part of the dragon movement, if you know what I'm saying, or the serpentine element. But anyway, this cousin of mine, right, I hardly ever had the chance to talk to him, you know, because I didn't see much of him, like, but when I was getting round into my Bible, I was doing me digging and trying to find out everything, I said to him, right, now, I said to him, I'm not being funny to you, man, right, but, like, I'm going to ask you a personal question, right, and I'm not going to take the mickey out of you or whatever, you know, I'm not going to take the Michael out of you or, you know, mock you or anything like that. But have you ever been encouraged to dress up as a woman and you didn't want to do it, like? And straight away, now, in the past, he had, you know, he was married, he actually got married to a woman when, you know, when he was younger. And he had a son to this woman, and she's, you know, he's doing okay for himself as far as I know. This has got nothing to do with any of that, right? But his ex-wife, the woman in question, right, they had, like, problems where they were unfaithful to one another, basically. There were little things, right? But that's not the point. Oddly, a name... I don't want to name names, you see, because I don't want this to get personal, right? But the principle of it, right? I said to him, has anyone ever dressed you up as a woman and you didn't want to do it? And straight away he goes, yeah, my ex-wife, man, my ex-wife, right? Which is his ex-wife, right? While he was off his head on speed, or he was sexed up on something, or intoxicated, yeah. The Dionysus thing, yeah. He said, she encouraged him. He didn't want to do it himself. She encouraged him to put like women's underwear on and suspenders and everything, and you know, like his hair was long, and you know, like when a man's got long hair, you can actually do like pigtails and all that kind of stuff, can't you? Yeah. And you know, he was actually honest, blatantly honest with me about it, like, and he said, you know, oh man, she had me like, you know, like playing with myself in the mirror, man. And I thought, oh, there's a mirror element as well. There's a mirror element as well, right? So if you imagine, you say if it was me in his place and I've got like pigtails on and a bra on and knickers and that, like, and I'm playing with myself, like looking at it like a mirror going, she basically had him getting off on himself, in the mirror, tarted up like a woman, you know what I mean? Like a poodle, basically, like a poodle. So there's the elements, like mirrors are portals, aren't they, guys, right? But whatever was she thinking? What on earth was she thinking? But it's a femme fatale, isn't it? It's like his reputation stained immediately from her perspective, right? And I say she was working for a senior male who you know, they tell these women to do it to you. Well, someone's obviously trying to pass the buckskin, aren't they? You know, so it's like, it might have been them in the past, they were drag queens or whatever, and what they're constantly trying to do is pass the buckskin on. It's like electric spark, in it, like static electricity via women's underwear, you know what I mean, or women's clothes and stuff, like. But he's in the mirror, and you know, mirrors are one of the main elements in cocaine usage as well, just so happens. You know, if you join all the dots, man, just dragon is, you know, just drag or dragon, like, there's so many connecting factors, like, and the Pope and the, you know, priests and that, they look like women, don't they? You know, they're wearing, like, the equivalent of dresses in a way, like, they're not actually dressed like men, are they, in a way? They're dressed like women, aren't they? Excuse me while I have a swig of tea. I'll probably get through all this, man, and the sound's not good enough. I don't know. You might have to turn the volume up loud, guys, because I turned the thing. But anyway, right. Now, to prove that I'm not having this was his words, you know what I mean? He went, oh yeah, man, my ex-girlfriend, she did it to me, man. And I was like, and there was me like a dickhead playing with myself and everything in the mirror, man, all tarted up like a tart, man, you know, with eyeliner on, with lipstick, with rouge, you know, but the woman did it to him, right? And I was thinking, wow, but he just so happens to be a Catholic as well, right? So there doesn't seem to be any like defense from it. It's like, I mean, if I was with a chick, no matter how fit she was, how, you know, whatever was going down, if she suggested I dress up, I'd be like, get out, go on, beat it. You know what I mean? As soon as they suggest anything to do with dragging you up, that's it, it's over, you know what I mean? Any birds, femme fatales that talk to you in that way, they're up to no good, aren't they? And they're working for someone else, obviously, and they'll help, like, pass the buckskin, right? And this is the crazy thing, like, me cousin's best friend, when he was in school, you know who his best friend was in school? Who he actually used to hang out with in secondary school? Paul O'Grady, you know, Lily Savage. The guy who was always dressed up as a woman going, hey, ducky poos, you know, right. So, if I'm not imagining things here, am I, you know what I'm saying, like, but this is to prove that it's not an incidental matter. These women, or females who are gullible to it, they must have this, like a program in the brains to do it to men, to try, it's passing the buckskin, isn't it? It's taking the attention from someone else. Obviously, some guy in the background's going, I want to, you know, make everyone look like drag queens so no one thinks it was me, like. But you know, the Scarlet Pimp, you know, remember the old story, they seek him here, they seek him there, that Scarlet Pimpernel. Like, you know, Scarlet Pimpernel, Scarlet Pimp in hell. But what does that sound like? What's Scarlet and comes from hell? The devil in it, you know, a pimp. Right, and a pimp will control women. If a pimp tells a woman to do something to a man, she's going to do it, isn't she? You know what I mean? No matter how bad it is, even if she thinks she's in love, she's eventually going to yield to whoever that pimp is, whoever's telling her what to do. Like, get him to put women's clothes on, or get him to stick a needle in his arm. One thing leads to another. The narcissus, the narcotics, the mirrors, the falling in love with yourself in the mirror, you know what I mean? The narcissus, like, right. Right, now to prove I'm not imagining it, like, I want to close this up, like, swiftly, like, I just thought, I want to take the subject matter further if people are interested in what I'm saying, right? But I'm supposed to have a kid who's supposed to be my son, right? And I've always suspected he's not my kid. I've got, like, sort of little mad, I don't want to get into this, you know, in case they watch this and they think, oh, he's starting trouble again. But it was a fickle family. I've got old videos and everything I want to share on YouTube if I get a video recorder to show you what a joke it was when I was like a henpecked, domesticated dad, you know, with this kid who I don't even think was mine, right? But connection, right? I was taking my time, deliberating. When he was a toddler, I still thought he was my kid. You know, you don't see these things until they get older and they start looking freakish and different compared to yourself, or, you know, they're too hairy or whatever it is, or they talk like a girl or whatever it is that happens as they get older, right? That drag-on puffy element that seems to creep in there, not by the kid's own will. Even the mums are in on it, aren't they? The women are obviously in on it, aren't they, right? Because she was like a dyke, in my opinion, you know, like a female, like a lesbian kind of thing, or a bisexual, right? AC/DC or whatever you want to call it, yeah. But anyway, I hadn't seen him for 10 years. We split up, right? By the time we split up, he was 5 years old, approaching 6, right? He was having all kinds of problems in school because he was autistic and all kinds of problems, right? But we split up, right? And I never seen him for 10 years, right? And I never spoke to her for 10 years, and I got a new girlfriend and all that, like. But she was a Catholic, right? And she insisted on him being christened a Catholic, or, you know, baptised a Catholic. So the poor kid, whether he's mine or not, he had to go through that Catholic system. You know, just the same as me cousin, the same connection, man. It's just so uncannily similar. It's beyond belief, to be honest, the coincidences, right? But anyway, I hadn't seen him for 10 years, right? And the only reason we reunited or spoke to each other again is because he was insisting that he wanted to speak to me. You know, he had a stepdad. He had a new sister to his his stepdad had a daughter with me ex. So they were a happy little family. You know, 2 kids, half bro, like step brother and step sister and everything. So why he didn't really need to speak to me or nothing like. But 10 years later, he had this, where the obsession was like, I want to speak to my dad wherever he is, whoever he is, like, which is supposed to be me. Should he just say Bruce? Shouldn't he really like? But anyway, we reunite and all that, and I know, and her family, right? I hated her sister, who was his auntie. You know what I mean? And she's probably the first human being I can honestly say I hated this girl. Like, Catholic women, mate, they're just they're just daft, man. You know what I mean? All smoked. They all had a ciggy in their hands. The ex I lived with, all the time I lived with her for 5 years with a kid, she never stopped smoking, and I'd never even smoked a cigarette in my life. Do you understand, right? So she was a smoker as well. She always had a fag in her hand, right? Well, all the time we were living together, right? And I hadn't seen him for 10 years, and he gets in touch or whatever, like, oh, the kid wants to see you, reunite and all that, like, right? I go and see him for the first time in 10 years, right? I had to speak to his mum. Speaking to your ex-girlfriend, it's awkward and everything, yeah, because I don't want to be crude or cruel, guys, but I ended up hating her, you know what I mean? She was a complete knobhead, if you want me to be frank and that, like, right? I thought, I go and, like, try and bury the hatchet just for the kid's sake, you know what I mean? So I go there and that, like, he wasn't actually there when I got there. She was on her own in the house, right? And she goes, he's just gone to the shop, like, he'll be back in a minute, like, you know what I mean? And I'd sat there for I'd only been there for 5 minutes, right, folks? And you know what the first thing she says to me, and I'm not kidding you, I went, how's he doing, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, 10 years later, like, she goes, I'm sure he's gay. Like, that was the first thing she said about him. Like, she was sure he was gay. Now, think about the Catholic thing where they want you to be gays or drag queens or whatever, right? And I'm looking as if to say, there's no need for that, is there? You know what I mean? He's sort of like, he's only 15 at the time. He hasn't even had a sex life, guys, and she's saying he's gay, you know what I mean, right? So I thought, oh, here we go again, some kind of, like, Catholic gay sex hang-up Dionysian fag end, whatever, yeah? Right. So eventually he arrives and we start talking and all that kind of stuff, and it was all awkward for me, because it was unnecessary, really, like, because I wasn't by my will. But anyway, first time I spoke to him on his own, I said, I'm going to ask you a question now. Right. Straight away. I said, has anyone ever made you dress up like a woman in women's... I said, I'm not going to be funny with you or accuse you or, call your names or nothing. I said, but just be frank and be honest. I just need to know. Has anyone ever dressed you up as a female? Well, he goes, yeah, me auntie, the one I'm talking. I won't name her name because, like, but straight away he goes, yeah, auntie so-and-so, his auntie, when she was looking after me, like, while his mum went out for a drink or something with a fella, you know what I mean? This auntie was looking after this kid, and he was still a kid at the time. I don't know how old, I can't remember what age he said it was, but he was obviously only a toddler or a kid, you know what I mean? And I said, what exactly did she do? And he's like, oh, she put, like, done my hair like a girl and put makeup on my face and put eyeliner on me and lipstick and that, like. And I was like, and what was she saying to you and that, like? And she was like, oh, you look lovely as a girl, And just think about it, man. Drag queens. I'm not exaggerating here, folks. This is true, like, you know what I mean? So, I'm getting off early. I wanted to go deeper into this. But the kid himself, and honestly, guys, he hasn't even had a decent sex life or nothing, because he talks like a bird. Everyone thinks he's gay and all that. I've never accused him of anything, you know what I mean? But his mum's overbearing. The song Mother by Pink Floyd, that principle. And she was into Pink Floyd. This is the irony, like, this woman, this ex-girlfriend, actually got me into the Pink Floyd album, The Wall, yeah. And she actually grew up, she ended up the mother, the character mother, like, sort of like controlling him, like he's not even allowed to be straight, you know what I mean? But her sister as well, dressing him up like a bird. Then you got me cousin, who's his ex-girlfriend, dressed him up like a bird. Like, what's going on in the world, guys? With all these women like trying to drag men up and trying to make them like look like women or whatever. Like, there's something not right, is there? But it all seems to be attached to Catholicism, from my opinion. Like, but anyway, if you find this interesting, I know it's not longer than that. How long is it? I don't know, 35 minutes. I just thought I'd bring that up as a subject matter, as an interesting, right? If people put comments below or whatever and say, yeah, man, let's go deeper into this and let's look into it, because it is all about a dragon. It's about drag queens. It's about puffs. Puff the magic dragon. You know, we call homosexuals in England, we call them puffs. Do you know what I mean? And it just so happens, like, Puff the magic dragon, like, you know. Because you can get a cigarette, guys, and you can spike it with anything. Think about that. Someone could offer someone a cigarette, right? And I heard rumours about some guy in a pub he used to give people. You know, if someone said to him, hey, mate, will you do as a rollie there? You know, a roll your own cigarette. Like, he'd put hard drugs in them, like, to make people sort of either, like, you know, go, like, fall asleep or whatever, or throw up or whatever. Like, rumours of, you know, people spiking people's cigarettes with hard drugs and stuff, right? All kinds of dirty below the belt stuff in it. But yeah, I just thought I'd talk about that. But Lily Savage, I mean, oh man, it's just it beggars belief, doesn't it? Really. So yeah, my next speech coming up is about femme fatales, right, guys? Like, where I've encountered women who I think love me, and they're just trying to turn me over, basically. You know what I mean? It's the reason I'm still single. I don't trust any women. I think, well, make sure they haven't got a mother-in-law, you know. If a woman uses the word mother to describe her mum or her ma or her owl queen or whatever you want to call it, like, as soon as they use the word mother, mate, that's it, like, I'm out. Alright. I'll keep it short, I'll get off, but some people want me to get back into my speeches. It's my equipment, guys, my computer's playing up, there's some weird stuff, so I've got to deliberate on whether I'm going to buy a new computer later on, I don't know. I want to get out busking, don't I, and see if I can make some extra coin, like. But yeah, thanks for watching. Is it interesting enough? Do you want me to go any deeper? Deeper under the Vatican archives, under the Vatican catacombs? Dragons. Alright, thanks for watching, folks.